Now members, let us see what happens if we have such questions like this. The one that they are giving us x, y, and z, they are asking us to find the minimum and maximum values of the following. So they give us this and this. These are all expressions because you see, of course. So what we do, we first get the maximum absolute error of x and of y and also of z. Then after that, we get the maximum value of z. You get, x, you get this plus this. That's what you get. Then the minimum, you get this minus this. The same here, the maximum value of y, you get this plus this. Then the minimum, you get this minus this. The same to z. So how do we get the maximum possible error? The formula is there, where n the number of decimal places. Now we start these ones, we are given one decimal place. When we put here 1, that's when we end up with these answers there. Now, we say we let it be this function. You can do it without letting, it's okay. But now this is just for analyze. Now, after that, you get always this value. You check for the sign of this expression. When you check for the sign, you say it's positive. If it's positive, it means that we can treat it the way we want. So, to get the maximum of t maximum being the same as this maximum. That's why it's there. Then when we start now, this one we are assuming this is A and this is B. We said maximize A plus B, maximize this plus maximize this. That's what we have there. Then what happens if you want to maximize now a fraction, we say maximize this, minimize this. Maximize this, minimize this. Putting in these values, that's what you get. Learn how to put them on the calculator. What you do, you place, let me show you how you can always put them on the calculator. What you do, you get your calculator like this. Then say shift, alpha, then press X. Then say minus, okay, plus, because there we have plus. Then say alpha, then you press this Y. I think this is what we are getting. So it means that I'm going to consider the first fraction as X, then the second as Y. So when I come to the other, you see now, you press now curl, you press this button curl. Now it's asking you what is the first fraction. You say, you open brackets, it's 3.3, it's dividing 4.4, close, then press equals. Then it will ask you what is y, the second fraction. Open brackets, 7.2, divide by 3.3, close, press equals. I think you see how the answer we have there, it's there. So that's how you press those values in there. So when I want the minimum of t, I get the minimum of t by also getting the minimum of this. You say that if you are adding, how do you get the minimum? Minimize this and minimize this. I think remember, you minimize this if you are adding, minimize this and minimize this. What happens if you are minimizing this fraction? Minimize this, maximize this. This one, minimize this, maximize this. Then you put in y, min, y. Where are you getting them? Here. We calculate them first. And that will be the answer. So this is the minimum. And I think you see that it's less than this. And this is greater. Because this is the maximum. So as the maximum should be greater than this. And the minimum should be less than this value you calculated. That's when you see that you're on track. Now, my interest was so much in this second expression. Of course, we let also t be this. When let t be this, now we first check what is the sign of t. Now, such our t is negative. There we get a. What happens if it's negative? What we do now, we factorize out this negative out. In this expression now we factorize a negative out. So that's what we do always. We factorize out a negative. We factorize out a negative. Now you will be equal to this. You see when I compare it back, I get negative, which will be here, this and this will be the positive. So you are not changing anything. You are just playing around with mathematics. And we said you factorize out negative so that you can use the other formula we saw last. So if you want, I will now decide the whole of this now is negative. So you need now, if you have it as, if you want a minimum, so now we maximize this. Because we say, if you want a minimum and it's negative, the bigger this is, the smaller it will be in terms of the size. So that's why I maximize now this. It's like when we have I gave you this example, negative 2 is going to be greater than negative 15. So meaning, you see these two things here. The bigger this is with its negative, the smaller it is. That's why we also want this to be maximum. When we want this to be now minimum with its, if we want it to be minimum, we maximize this. So negative, then we make this big. That's the idea there. So that's why now I want this one to be big. Because of this negative, if it's positive, we have seen. You don't mind about the negative. So that's the idea. Then we said if we are maximizing the difference, we say you minimize this, you maximize this, and then you minimize this if it's a difference. I think remember that we maximize this, and then what we are supposed to move off, we minimize it so that the result is big, because we want it to be big. So what will happen is if we are maximizing this, max this, minimize this. Then what happens is we have to minimize this, and then maximize this. We have explained all that. You put that on the calculator, I've told you, then that's the answer you get. I think we see that this one is going to be smaller than this. Because this one is big, this one, when you cover the side, that's bigger than this. Is the idea I was explaining there. Now, what happens if you want the maximum over a negative? If you want the maximum, it means that this one should be small. So that's why you come and minimize this. So you start with negative, then this one should be minimized using this idea. So that's why you minimize now this. Now to minimize this, you said when you are minimizing the difference, you minimize this, then you maximize this. So that you make this small and even subtract something big so that it becomes more small. That's the idea. Minimize this, we say now we come to the individual terms. It means we minimize this, maximize this. Maximize this, maximize this, minimize this. Then you put in the values, and that's the answer you see. I think we said this one is bigger than this. I think you can see that. So that's the idea when we have a negative t in such cases. So that's it, members. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you